I'm number 2. Sarah and Dad and I were both second, so we would say, we're number 2, we're number 2. Anyway, what I wanted to share is more about Dad when he was a child, even though I wasn't there. Just stories that I've heard over the years that I thought were, some of them were cute, and I thought some of them were very endearing. And my dad was born during the Great Depression. He was born in 1932, as Sarah said, in Marion, Indiana, and then he spent very little time there, and he moved to Mount Etna, which is very close to where my husband was raised. And after that, they moved to Rock Creek Township, which was just right along the banks of the Wabash River. So he grew up catching crawdads, and I didn't know this, but Lori told me the story that Dad said they would catch crawdads and sell them to help with the family finances. I thought that was kind of a cute story. Anyway, they were extremely poor, and there was a story that my mother had told me that Dad's mother had told her, that they would go to the church down the road. It was a Primitive Baptist church, which is a branch of the Southern Baptist church. And they would have potlucks there on Sunday evenings. And that grandma would ask her boys not to eat what they had brought to the potluck because she needed food for that night, and that's really how poor they were. Then there was a story that Grandma told of Dad when he was little and going to church. She would have him come into the ladies' room with her instead of the boys' bathroom. And Lori said, don't tell this story, but I'm telling it anyway. And Dad was so frugal all of our lives. I mean, he grew up so poor, and he really knew the value of $1. You know, if we asked Mom for money for clothes, she'd give us 25, and Dad would basically give us a quarter, and I'm not kidding. I mean, that's just how he was. But he would instruct the women in the ladies' room how many squares of toilet tissue to use. And if they used too much, he would get upset about that. So anyway, the ladies finally told Grandma Nelson that he wasn't allowed in the bathroom. And I mean, my father, I remember when I was 12, he used to start instructing me on that, and I'd say, Dad, what are you doing in the bathroom with me? You need to get out of here. Anyway, you know, he was very, very frugal, but he was also extremely generous, and he would just give you the shirt off of his back. He would do anything for so many people. You know, we talked about him joining the Army to help him get through medical school, and one of the reasons he joined was because he loved to travel so much, and he knew that that was his ticket to travel. But he really did hate the authority, and I remember when we lived on Okinawa, he actually was reprimanded for not saluting the colonel back. And I'm going to regret saying this stuff, but anyway, the colonel was Colonel Cox, and Dad said the name suited him very, very well. Anyway, Dad was just so interested in so much. He really was a Renaissance man. He was interested in everything and interested in what people were doing. He was the person that taught me about the constellations. He, up until maybe just a year ago, could tell me what time the sun was rising that day and what time it was going to set. He always knew that. Within minutes, you know. Somebody was saying he climbed every volcanic peak on the West Coast except for Denali. I was always so proud of that when I was talking to my friends about him. He was disappointed when his orders changed when we lived in Fort Lewis from Alaska, because he really wanted to live in Alaska because he loved mountaineering so much, to Okinawa. So Mom had to put away all the winter clothes because it was at Christmas time and get out all the summer clothes. And but Dad made the most of it. I mean, I remember him taking us when we were kids, and it was really hot and humid, and we'd be traipsing all over pineapple fields and through sugar cane fields because Dad needed to hike. You know, he really needed to go. I have memories of Christmas morning before we have modern day photography, and Dad would have those huge, great big flashes, and he would make us sit before we opened any of our presents, and it was just so frustrating. And those things, you know, you'd have to get it just right, and then it would explode, and you'd be blinded, and then he'd make you sit for some more, or he hadn't done the movies yet, and he needed really bright lights. I was just like, Dad, come on, you know? He was such a great photographer. He even had his own darkroom. He had it set up in a closet for quite a few years. And his photographs of scenery were postcard perfect. He could have actually sold them. They were just absolutely gorgeous. So he just was a man of so many talents. He loved his family, loved you so much, Tina. He loved us so much, and he loved us all equally, and he would honestly just do anything for us. I mean, family was so important to him, and I love him so much, and I'm gonna miss him for, you know, my very last breath. Anyway, love you, Dad.